Hello, friends. Welcome back to Gecko's Gaming. Today, I'm continuing my foray into Premodern and into specifically tuning Black midrange or Moneyball Black to trying some different things, some novel approaches to shore up some of the weaknesses of the deck and to attack the metagame from different angles. This deck is another attempt to improve the Enchantress matchup and without giving up too much equity in other matchups. Uh, and it also is a list that should make the deck more resilient to red sweepers and red interaction, like Pyroclasm and Earthquake. And it may be better against Sligh or maybe worse against Sligh. I'm not quite sure yet, but we'll get into that. The main feature of this deck is the synergy between Grinning Demon and Bane of the Living. Now, obviously, they have the obvious synergy of hiding which one you're morphing, and so your opponent has to guess which morph it is, but that's mostly cute. I don't think that will give a competitive edge in very many situations. But the more important synergy is that Bane of the Living clears the board so that Grinning Demon can connect and not kill you in the face of chump blockers. And so we're just going a little bit bigger in terms of power and toughness with this deck. Actually, a lot bigger, you know? I mean, Moneyball is almost entirely X2s or X1s, and then maybe has a 3/3 or a 4/4, or like a Green Demon, you know, maybe one in the 75. But this deck has a lot of big fatties. It has the 3 Banes, 3 Grinning Demons, 4 Anurids, 4 Wretched Anurids, which I'll get into that in a moment. But yeah, so the idea is that, you know, we're gonna be hitting harder and faster out the gate, and we can clear the way so the Green Demon can connect, and then Bane of the Living is also a nice beater. And this should be a little bit better at attacking combo decks, or I'm not sure, but it it may be better. I mean, at least kill them faster with the rats, or I'm sorry, with the Anurids and whatnot. And since we're going up bigger on mana, we also have more lands. And if you've been watching the channel for a while, or saw my previous video, you know that I don't like how a lot of these decks are playing 15 or 16 swamps with too many colorless sources and a bunch of double black creatures and pump knights that they can never really reliably cast on turn 2 without Dark Ritual. So so that's another thing that this deck kind of shores up. I am able to go down to 16 swamps and up to 24 lands because we have a lot more use of colorless mana. The Anurid is colorless in addition to the rats, and then also Bane of the Living and Grinning Demon can use a lot of colorless mana quite effectively. So I think that that's nice. And then we also have room for additional interaction with the Wastelands, and that should be super helpful against Enchantress, I believe. And I'll get into the sideboard later, but I am playing 4 Gloom in this, just like in my previous Moneyball iteration. Just something I'm trying for Enchantress, trying to test the hypothesis that Gloom is better than Dystopia there. And one thing that Grant Fly pointed out when I showed him this deck was that if I'm playing Glooms but not Wasteland, that kind of maybe defeats the purpose a little bit. Like it's easier for them to get around the Glooms if you're not playing Wasteland. But you know, I'm unhappy with the Wasteland in the decks that have that have a lot of black pips. And I also want to mention that this is very much just an early prototype and something that I'm just testing. So I'm gonna continue to refine this list, but this is very early, very rough draft, and my first league with the deck. So I'm gonna at the end of the video give some more feedback about my recommended updates for the list and a new list going forward. So with this list, we're asking the question: what if we load up on 4 Wastelands and 4 Glooms, and how does that affect Enchantress? It seems like it would be pretty good because we can take out the Sanctums and, you know, their brushlands as well, and just continue to load up on Glooms. And then I also, like I said, I have enough colorless pips in here that I'm pretty comfortable doing that. Uh, so, and then another thing that I'm doing is just kind of continuing with the strategy of no dead cards against Enchantress game 1. So again, we have no Smothers. There's 4 Diabolic Edicts and 3 Funeral Charms for removal, in addition to like a single Drain Life and then the Bane of the Livings. And what's kind of nice is that the Bane of the Living does mitigate the downside of playing no smothers and playing edicts, because if the game goes long enough for us to flip it, we also have Dark Ritual to flip it pretty fast and out of nowhere, which is another pretty sick use of the ritual. Um, but for this list, but if the game goes long enough, I can flip Bane and then take out all their small things and then clear the way for the higher impact targets for die block edict, or put the opponent on a clear board, so where whoever they play next can die to edict. So it does mitigate the downside of smother. It also makes it easier to play edict since or makes it easier to play Wasteland since we have additional colorless mana. And then the colorless mana can do a lot more for our own side in terms of casting spells with Bane. So Bane sets up nicely for the Edict to be included in the deck as well. And then we have, but obviously Bane can kill Enchantress, but that's probably not going to come up very often. But still, just being a 4/3 beater that can attack on turn 4, stuff like that, that can come up, that can be pretty helpful. Similar with the Demon, we can just beat them down a little bit faster, put a faster clock on them. Plus with the Anurid connecting for 3 right away. So I like the synergy here between the Bane and the Edict and the mana. It kind of flows together nicely. I do think that Bane is going to be, like I said, Bane's going to be too slow to really reliably kill an Enchantress. Like, that's not a plan. It's something that can happen sometimes, but mostly it is nice that it sets up us to be able to play the 4 Edicts main deck, which is good against Enchantress, while mitigating the downside against other decks there. And the Wretched Anurid is going to be, like I said, an awesome beater against combo decks. Just put him on a faster clock, and then unlike the Pump Knights that cost 2, not only are they like oftentimes, Shade is double black, Stromgald's double black. Anurid is easier to cast with the colorless lands, so we can cast it more consistently on curve for extra beats. But then what's really nice about it compared to the pump creatures is that I can attack with this for, a bunch of damage the turn after I play it, and then still continue to use my mana efficiently to advance my board, advance my game state. Play a Gloom, play discard spells, play another threat, play removal, whatever you need to do, you can continue to do it, and your mana's not tied up with clunky pump creatures. So that's kind of nice. I am unsure about this. Oh yeah, and the other big thing is that it survives a Bane sweep, so you can set up Plague Winds pretty easily with this deck. Bane of the Living, Green Demon, Wretched Anurid all do really well at surviving a Bane of the Living sweep for 2, and then the other creatures we have Wretch and Rats, which both of which are, I think, I'm okay. You can play around that reasonably. So a lot of times you can get away with a Bane for 1, in which case the Wretch survives. The Rats provide enough value that I don't really care if one of them gets swept up with a Bane trigger, but I will try to trade them off more aggressively if I do know that a Bane is coming down the line. And the fact that you can do it at instant speed, you can like shunt block with a Rat, then flip the Bane, to finish off a bigger creature or something like that, like an X3. So the Rats are fine. But anyways, yeah, back to Anurid. I'm unsure about this against Sligh. On its face, it looks horrible there, right? Like, our life total is under pressure. It's already a bad matchup. But they can continue to play creatures, ping us for 1, and then any creatures we play after continue to lose life. So, you could easily envision one of these doing 5 damage to you over the course of a game. However, I am a little bit, I'm not sure. It might be good because it has a lot of upside in that matchup too. And you can play around the downside, like, say I have a Rats and an Anurid. I'll play the Rats first. Sligh is always basically going to play their creatures before the rest of their spells if they can. So you play out the Rats, like on turn 2, and then they maybe play another creature or 2, and then you play the Anurid after, and you just save yourself like 3 or 4 life. And then you still get the 3/3. The Rats blocks everything anyway, so you kind of sequence it that way. Try to set it up that way if you can. And Anurid does, like I said, it has a lot of merit in the matchup. It dominates all of their creatures, all of their 1-drops are 2/1s that are just awful against this. It survives Grim Lavamancer, it survives Curse Scroll, survives their sweepers like Pyroclasm and Earthquake. All their 2 damage burn spells don't really do anything against it. So I imagine it'll be like a pretty big house on the board, and the plan is that you can just tempo them out. You can dominate the board and then start attacking with this and just kill them before, like, I can envision many scenarios where this will kill the Sligh player before they're able to capitalize. Like it's going to do more damage to them than it does to you. And Sligh is just a race, and this Fatty Ball version just goes all out with like, okay, let's just race, let's just brawl, let's just try to hit you with fatties, let's try to dominate the board, let's see how fast we can kill Sligh instead of just waiting for them to kill us. We also have Funeral Charm in case they, which is great against Sligh. Like I said, I think it's the best card that Mono Black has access to against Sligh. And what's really important is that if we're on the draw on turn 1, we can use this, take out their 1-drop. Then we can play Anurid on turn 2, you know, or Rats and stabilize. But this prevents them from getting underneath us before we can stabilize with our bigger creatures. I imagine it is okay, so I think it's gonna be good against combo. I think it's gonna, I'm not sure about Sligh, but I have some cautious optimism there. It is obviously gonna be horrible against goblins or elves or tribal decks like that. So yeah, we'll come back to that later, but that is a trade-off for sure with a card like that. I do think you could play Massacre in this deck. I don't have it in here because I don't have enough card draw in the main. I have some card draw on the sideboard, but this deck, game 1, doesn't really draw cards. It just kind of tries to play big creatures and kill them first, and then maybe game 2, things slow down a little bit, we can bring in some card advantage. I am worried about the Massacre's ability to, about our ability to keep feeding the Massacre, getting enough cards to keep it alive. We do have, it makes good use of the colorless mana and the higher land count. Another mana sink for Dark Ritual. I think it is a little bit redundant with Bane of the Living though. So that plus the card draw thing. And then I don't want the curve to get too clunky. I think you could find room for Massacre here. I would encourage trying it if anybody wants to pick up and try this deck. Greatborn Muse, kind of similar deal. I would play, I think Greatborn Muse would be fine in the deck if you could fit it in. It's another thing that survives like a Bane flip. Just with all these 4-drops already, and the amount of pressure on our life total already, and just the different kind of, this deck has a slightly different posture than other Moneyball decks. We're more aggressive. So I think my 4-drops, I would rather be trying to pressure the opponent and close the door rather than sitting back and trying to draw cards. But I do think you could find some room for Muse in here, but that's why I'm not playing it right now. Again, it competes with these guys for curve and also for life gain. And we have no Hypnotic Spectre, again, competes on the 3-drop with these guys, and it dies to Bane of the Living. And we're trying to kill them instead of disrupt them. So we get a little bit of downside. We don't have as much flying pressure. We have a little bit less disruption against the combo or control decks with Hypnotic Spectre's absence, but I think we make up for that with the faster clock and the Wasteland plan and the, yeah, you know, we still have plenty of discards, so I don't think it's totally needed. Cutting Hippie will also help our equity against Sligh and other aggro decks. Again, I have no Curse Scroll since we have a bit of a higher curve. I think you can play Curse Scroll in here, especially since I don't have card draw, but I just couldn't really find room for it. Maybe you could play it over a Drain Life. It's good in a lot of the same matchups, but this deck can be a little bit clunky with its mana, so I didn't play Curse Scroll, but you could definitely try it. I think Curse Scroll is legit in this deck. And I have a Drain Life in here. Not only, it's in here obviously to mitigate some of the life loss from the Demon and the Anurid, but it's also here because I have lots of mana. We don't have a lot of mana sinks. The deck might be prone to flooding. This could help with that, although we do have a lot of colorless sources. But the other thing is, too, since we don't have any sweepers, it gives us another source of reach for if the game goes long, just to finish off the opponents. I think I would say it is a flex slot. If you are concerned with Sligh, you could cut it for another Funeral Charm. I think Funeral Charm is arguably better there than Drain Life. Not sure yet. And yeah, let's go ahead and look at the sideboard here. Oh yeah, just to know, I mean, obviously, the rest of the stuff's kind of self-explanatory. You've seen all this before. But I have Wretches in here because it just mops up so many win percentage points in this field. Even though this isn't the ideal shell for it, the fact that we're running discard, we don't have any other black pips on turn 2, so I think we can afford to have one of those. I'm only playing 3, and yeah, it's just really good in the metagame, so I just want to keep it around. So let's go ahead and take a look at the sideboard here. I encourage you, if you want to know more about like my choices between Funeral Charm and Edict and stuff, you can check out my previous video where I go into that. I will leave a link in the description. So for sideboard, this is really sculpt. I want to emphasize too, this is a prototype of the deck. This is a brand new build, basically untested, and I'm going to run into a league with it here. So a lot of this could be wrong. But yeah, we have the 4th therapy for additional discard. This deck I like the discard in because we're trying to clear the way, stick a fatty, and then close the game quickly. So I do feel a lot more happier about the 4 therapies here than in the other version that I had. Smother, just to deal with other creatures, pretty useful spell, especially when we don't have anything like that in the main deck that can target and remove a lot of those cards like Terravore or Goblins or things like that. 4th Wretch for graveyard decks. 2 Plagues. I'm playing 2 Plagues right now because I think maybe Bane of the Living will be enough to help us against the tribal decks, but they are pretty fast. The Plague could be cope, so we'll see. 4 Glooms, talked about that already. Great against Replenish, great against Enchantress. That's 2 out of the 3 best decks in the format. 2 out of the 3 decks that this deck tends to struggle against. So I'm going all in on Gloom. I'm continuing to entertain the thesis that Gloom is better than Dystopia against Enchantress. And I think it's pretty well established and consensus that Gloom is better than Dystopia against Replenish. So we're going to try that. And then, like I said, the Gloom with the 4 Wastelands should be a pretty strong strategy against Enchantress in addition to the discard and the faster clock to close on them pretty quickly. Negator, probably not as necessary in this deck as in the other Moneyball list that I had, because we do have big creatures that can close fast on their own. But still, I think it's really nice when you can just even close even faster, especially against Stifle Knot and decks like that. But this is a flex slot. You could cut this for something else. 2 Dystopias, I would play more. They're great against green decks and also against white decks. But I'm trying 4 Gloom, 2 Dystopia split right now. Have an Arena and a Scrying for additional card draw for grinder matches and control. I'm thinking that the Arena should probably just be a second Scrying. The repeatable card draw is not as important for a deck that's trying to go fast and kind of burst out creatures. And I like the Scrying being able to control how much life we lose with the amount of pressure on our life total already in the main deck. You know, you could bring in a whole package with Scrying. You could also try Rotting Giants, maybe over Anurid. I think it's important to play Anurid because the Rotting Giant, I hate like the conditional thing, and a lot of times is playing 2 mana for like something that doesn't do anything, and you need to feed it and do stuff. But you know, maybe there's a package where you go more in on Scrying. You play some amount of Rotting Giants, and then you play Urza's Baubles, Phyrexian Furnaces. You cut the maybe cut some amount of Wretches for some Furnaces, just to, and then go full 4 on the, perhaps full 4 on Therapy and on Funeral Charm, so you have a lot of proactive ways to fill the graveyard to enable stuff like that, and then maybe Scrying goes up, although it would be competing with the Rotting Giant. So, I don't know, just some thoughts I've been thinking about. I would probably cut the Arena for a second Scrying after thinking about it, but I already submitted this list, so I gotta play the league with it now. And then yeah, second Drain Life again to help mitigate the life loss of the deck. And yeah, there's some other things. I mean, you could play. I think probably I'll have to end up playing more Engineered Plagues, and you could also play more Charms. You could play a Plague Bearer, would be pretty good in here. Maybe even Plague Spitter, since we have a little bit more of some fatty, like higher toughness stuff going on. But yeah, that's the deck. Let me know if you have any questions or comments about it. I'll leave a link to the deck list in the comments pinned to the top. And let's go ahead and hop into some games. Yeah, remember to smash that subscribe button, smash that like button if you like the content. And thanks so much for watching, and enjoy. All right, round 1. Fatty Ball. We got here. Let's see what we have. All right, round 1 with Fatty Ball. I'm on the play, and I will keep this hand. It's totally fine. little interaction light, but we can come out swinging and put some pressure on them. Let's see what they have. Underground River. Portent. All right. I was kind of hoping for a duress there, but Portent is definitely better for them considering our hand. All right, they draw a card in my upkeep. Let's go to my draw step. Get a Wasteland. That should be nice against the river next turn. Let's get this Anurid down, start the clock going. Delta Pedal. Okay, so they're playing a combo. Let's see what this is. Could this be Ill-Gotten Gains or Dark Ritual? Okay, something's happening already on turn 2. Buried Alive. Yep. Let's see what they have here. Beginning of upkeep. It's a 13/13. And then this. Oh, Shallow Grave. Dang. Okay. This creature enters exile any number of creatures from your graveyard. Its power is equal to the total power exiled. Okay. Cool. Never seen this combo before, but that's pretty sweet. Turn 2 kill. Nice. All right. Game 2, I guess. That was a pretty wild combo. So we want Therapy. We want the Wretch. We're going to want Negator too. Put some pressure on them. And yeah, Drain Life is pretty bad. Funeral Charms, probably pretty bad too. Maybe Rats. I don't really want them to be discarding some of those things for value. I think the Edict is fine because it can break up the combo. The Funeral Charm is a little bit has some upside over the Rats where since it's instant speed and only 1 mana, I can set up some spots where I can actually get something good and make sure they can't discard something bad with it. But the Rats enable my Cabal therapies, so it's kind of close, I think, between the two. Let's do a coward split. We'll go 2-3. How's that? All right. This is a much better hand. We have a Duress. We have an Edict. We have ways to interact with them. But our clock is a lot slower, though, to be fair. Okay, so they have a Duress. They have a Mask, too. They're really all in on this, huh? Don't care about recall. Um, hmm. I'd probably take Buried Alive. And then we're going to be in top deck mode. I could see taking Sleight of Hand, too. But they're going to Duress me next turn, possibly Unmask. I don't think they can unmask me unless they draw another black card. They'd probably just duress and then save the unmask for later. All right. Well, we're kind of clear for a rat to hit without providing them too much value. I'm guessing they will just discard unmask to it, but they go sleight of hand before duress. Kind of makes sense. They're going to want to save their duress to clear the way for their combo, but from any potential removal that I have, such as edict. Okay, they're just unmasking. They're going to exile duress to unmask. Is that what they did? Let's see what they exile. They exile duress. Okay, fair enough. Took the edict. Probably discard recall. That's really not good against my build. I don't even have curse scrolls, so unless they have some kind of a synergy with it, but we'll see. Important. So it's going to be more efficient to morph the Bane here rather than attack with the factory and play the Bane next turn. But now that I drew duress, that actually changes. I think I'd rather duress first, and then I can attack with factory and rest, then just hardcast the Bane next turn. Uh, yeah, I really don't. I really kind of believe that Hercules Recall is just a dead card against me. I don't know if they're doing some kind of shenanigans with it though, so I haven't seen any artifacts from them yet, but could be a thing. Let's get him for 3, and then next turn we'll play a 4/3. So we took their duress. So now if we draw an edict, we're live to break up the combo. Another factory is fine. This is kind of nice what I'm talking about, where I have all these colorless pips in the deck, and so the factories can cast a lot of our spells on curve, which is quite nice. All right, so now we have a serious clock on them. We're going to be swinging through for 11, and they have all pain lands out, so. Did I say 11? I meant 9. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Actually, 10 now since I have another factory. Just have to make sure that I click the right one so I don't activate the one with summoning sickness. Moto does make it a little bit challenging to do that. I would say we probably have this now. They're going to be at such a low life total. Yeah. All these pain lands. So the deck did its thing. I mean, it beat down pretty quick, which is, I believe that this deck should be better against combo in general than the typical Moneyball black build because of the Anurids and because of the big beaters at the higher end of the curve. All right, so this is a pretty good start. Um, Pretty good hand. It is interesting the sequencing here. Okay, well they're gonna duress, so I may not have as many choices as I would like. Takes therapy, okay. Yeah, because now I can't get information before I sack the rat or whatever, so That kind of makes sense. Okay, but you can just draw another Cabal Therapy, which is kind of dumb, but um, I guess I'll name Buried Alive. No, they do have two portents though, so I mean if I play the rat here, they just discard a portent. So I think I'd rather go with the Anurid and then go rat therapy next turn. I'd probably get about the same amount of value. And they'll play out their hand first a little bit more so I can see what they have left. I will be able to get something, you know. Probably it's going to be Shallow Grave, which is a pretty important one to hit. Unfortunately, I do give them more opportunity to cantrip here. Yeah, they're going to Slight first, and then they're going to Portent, and they're going to try to keep the good card on top of their library instead of drawing it. So it's going to be important to note whether or not they shuffle here or not. Okay, yep, there goes the first Portent. Let's see if they shuffle. Declines to shuffle, okay. So they could have something good on top of their library. But they can't have both on top, so I think we will have time to be able to do what we need to do to disrupt them. That's pretty interesting. Does that change how I want to sequence this turn? I'm not sure. Because I don't think that they can really... I don't think they can get me next turn either way, so maybe it's best to wait on the therapy. No, I'd rather advance my game plan here and then end up with the edict in hand later. I don't care about the stack order, so... Okay, here we go. Discard a card. These cards sleight of hand. I think it might be better to wait to therapy next turn. Since I know I'm going to be naming Shallow Grave, they can't both... Oh, they could Ritual and go Buried Alive plus Shallow Grave right now and get me. So actually, I probably should, just on the off chance. They did get to set up with Portent a little bit, so... Yeah. I think I want to respect that. Oh, okay, they did have a Dark Ritual too. It's pretty scary. There goes. Okay, am I dead? Okay, they get Buried Alive. They don't have the grave though, unless they top decked it. Oh, they did set up with Portent. Okay. It's getting pretty scary here. Limdol's Vault is like pretty sick too. But if we can just keep the life pressure on them, they have a City of Brass, we can make this less effective. They declined again, so they like what's on top of their library. It's a little bit scary for us, but I do have the Edict, so feeling pretty safe right now. They would need Dark Ritual, Duress, and Shallow Grave. All right, so do I Duress here? They could have a Shallow Grave on top, so probably shouldn't. I need to have this Edict. All right. And I can't sack the Anurid to therapy again because I need to, what's most important is I need to keep a clock going on them, so. Just to kind of attack their resources. I think there is a consideration for like pumping this guy, but it doesn't really increase the clocks that much. So, but they discard the vault. Okay, swamp would be kind of nice here. Another Anurid. Okay. Once again, I don't feel like I can afford to tap out right now, so I need to hold up this edict. Oh, they have another vault. Okay. Can they find it? They can't go down any more life because they need black mana, so they have to get it here. Nice, we got there. Very crazy though. They killed us on turn 2, game 1, which is, I mean, a literal turn 2 kill. It's not like turn 2 Stifle not kill you in 2 turns. It's turn 2 like you're literally dead, which I haven't seen that in Premodern yet. That's pretty cool. All right, round 2 here. Let's go. We have decent hand. I will keep, but it does present some interesting decisions about when to Dark Ritual and what to use with the Dark Ritual. I'm going to lead on the Factory since I'm quite likely to Ritual next turn. Although, maybe I shouldn't have done that to play around Wasteland. They just have a swamp. All right, we're okay with that. Duress. All right, well, there goes my Dark Ritual. But game's going to slow down a little bit more. That's okay. I'm okay with that. I'd rather use all my mana this turn and get on the board than using Duress right off the bat. I think it's good to save the Duress. Okay, they had a second one. I think it's good to, I mean, in these games, like the hands do get emptied pretty quickly. Okay, they have a fetch land, so it's not just Moneyball black. We'll see what they're playing. Could be Psychotog. Portent, okay. So far I am seeing Psychotog cards. Next turn I'm going to Duress and then Rats most likely. They didn't shuffle. Drain life, alright. Could be good if the game goes on long enough. It's just Duress here. I suppose it was technically correct to attack with the rat first in case they had a removal spell for it. Actually, they do. They have the Funeral Charm. But they chose not to use it on the rat. Yeah, Parallax Nexus. Looks like a pretty sweet blue-black mid-range deck. I like this. I like what they're cooking here. Um, yeah, Parallax Nexus is a pretty interesting card. It seems underplayed to me. I want to explore this more in the format. Hmm. I think the Nexus is just a bit too powerful versus like just trading a card. I can trade a card with the Funeral Charm, that's fine. It's pretty bad against rats too, since it's a 2-for-1 for us. They make us discard a card. I think I'm going to discard the Drain Life. It is potentially an answer to Shadow Mage Infiltrator down the line, but not for a long time. Or, obviously I could draw a Ritual, but it's a little bit of drawing a Ritual would be a little bit of like optimistic thinking there. I'm not sure that would happen. Okay, so they're going all in on the Master Core plan. It looks like they discard the Shadow Mage, which makes sense in the face of these rats, but not so much in the face of the demon. There's the Ritual, of course. That's kind of funny. Uh, yeah. Do I want to save the Ritual, or do I want to just jam the demon right now? Just full on like play it without morph and try to race. Let's see if I do 4 damage to them here. Yeah, but I'm not guaranteed to be able to flip the demon next turn if I ritual to morph it and then attack with the factory. So I think I'd rather just make sure that demon gets down right away. The opponent is low on resources, low on cards. The demon is a lot bigger than the Master Core. So I think that I think this is kind of our ticket right here. Impulse, nice. Actually, I mean, it's not getting them ahead on cards, but they could. And they snapped up a card pretty quick, so we'll see. Oh, they got the land. Okay, so here comes Master Core. We're now in a Master Core game. They have 1 card left in hand, so they do have the ability to feed it. Swamp, okay. Green Demon's going to be getting in here. Next turn, they can spend all their mana to clear my rats out of the way, but I will at least make them do that, make them spend the mana. And we're pretty far ahead on the race. They need a removal spell for the demon. And it doesn't get hit by Smother. Edict is not effective on this board. Obviously, it dodges all of the non-black creature removal too. Okay, so we're at a spot where if they block the demon, they take 4. If they block a factory, they would take 8. I think I'm not quite ready to swing out yet. Maybe just duress, just see what they have. I mean, if it's arguable that we could. Okay, all right. Well, they're going to be able to impulse or something, so that actually protects the Master Core effectively, because they'll be able to impulse for something I can't hit and then discard to the Master Core. But that's fine. They're going to be hellbent the rest of the game as long as this continues. So we definitely have the upper hand here. The demon is doing some serious work, some heavy lifting this game. Okay, so this jump block, and then they're going to take out a rat first, I'm sure. So they do unlock their draw step now. They can start drawing cards. Oh, they regenerate. I see. Never mind. They regenerated instead of clearing the guys. I kind of forgot for a second that Mastercard can do that. That's another one of its many great attributes. All right. I will upkeep. Let's take 2. Draw. The rest. So we could just run it back again. Maybe this time they have another non-creature spell that they can't play. It's a Polluted Delta. So yeah, the Demon Masticore regenerate thing is not sustainable. Factory, if I activate the factory, it'll be, it just blasts the demon again, probably, and then shoots a rat, takes 3. Otherwise, it could block a factory, shoot 2 rats, and take 6. Yeah, I don't think I really have good attacks here, actually. Which is quite unfortunate because the Masticore is going to start clearing my rats either way. But the question is, do I want to throw away my factory to get in 6 damage? Hmm. I don't think I'm that desperate yet. Each draw step benefits me. I do have a clock. Oh, wait, I was, I was supposed to attack the demon there. I'm sorry, I missed the priorities. Now he gets to take out both rats instead of just one. It's really unfortunate. That was just a silly misclick. I meant to attack there. I'm still kind of used to the arena interface where, like, if you just kind of you hit like the OK button and it like you can send all attackers that way. It doesn't just pass as easily. I don't know. I don't know if you know what I mean, but that was pretty rough. I mean, it wasn't that big of a deal, honestly. They were gonna take out the rats this turn anyways. They weren't really gonna do anything. So all right, but we do need to keep making them use their mana. But what I was saying is that the jaw step benefits us since we have a live jaw step and they don't. The other side of things is that the demon has us on a clock, so I like the opponent's deck though. It's pretty sweet blue-black mid-range deck. Yet another factory. Am I ready to attack yet? I think I'd rather wait one more turn and attack with all 3 factories. It's correct to keep attacking in case they have like a factor fiction or something like that. That they would want all their mana for. Third factory. So next turn the factories will come rolling in along with the demon, and I think that would be enough to put him into a really bad spot. because they have to keep blocking the demon pretty much, otherwise they're dead. And then I just get net 6 damage against them. I don't think Wretch changes anything. I can take 4 on the crackback from the Massacre, but and then go down to 2, but I don't think this deck has like reach in it, you know? They did have Funeral Charm, so that would be an unfortunate way to die, I guess. They ripped it exactly Funeral Charm. I'm going for it though. Okay, so you're gonna eat a factory, shoot another factory, take 8. Come on, don't draw Funeral Charm. One time, can we dodge the Funeral Charm? All right. Okay, no attacks. So you didn't draw it. Um, Interesting because if I attack with the factory, they have to chump block the demon, and they can't just both shoot the factory and block the demon. So I have to block the demon and shoot the factory, lose their Master Core. But if I Rats and Wretch, it's kind of the same thing functionally. Their Master Core dies, and we're left with about the same board state. All right. I guess I'll do that because that leaves me with like a slightly more head board state because the next turn I have the Wretch and the factory that can attack instead of just I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of 6-1, half dozen the other. Honestly, I think. All right. Damage. Okay, let's go Rats. Get that last card out of their hand. Yep, shoot the rat. That makes sense. I win. Okay, GG. Game 2. And it's blue-black mid-range. I think I'll want these because the game is likely to go long again. Negator does not line up well against Massacre, so no Negator. Smother, sure. Wall Therapy, perhaps. Withered Wretch, I'm not sure. I didn't see any graveyard value, but usually these decks play it. I mean, I didn't see any Psychotogs, but I would guess they play something like Accumulated Knowledge, or maybe even like deep analysis or something. I don't know. But I think these are the ones, I think for sure I want the scrying and the arena. Those are the ones I'm most sure about. And then Drain Life kind of goes with those because if the game goes long, my life total is going to kind of matter. And then you can also get big Drain Lives like late game to finish them off too. I think that's okay for a slow game. We did end up in top deck mode pretty quickly, so I'm not sure about Cabal Therapy. Typically, I like it against blue decks, but their deck didn't seem to be drawing that many cards, honestly. Like, they had Impulse, which is card parity, not card advantage, and they had Mastercore, which is card disadvantage. So I don't know if the Cabal Therapy would be appropriate here. And similarly with the Wretches, I'm not sure about the Wretches. Um, Dark Ritual, kind of slow. Or, I mean, the matchup's kind of slow to where I don't want to be getting 2-for-1 with that. The Edicts are definitely good. If I'm bringing in Drain Lives, then it makes sense to keep the Rituals, I think. At least some amount of them. Let's just trim some of this stuff. I'm gonna, I don't know, the Cabal Therapies I'm not sure about. Let's just stick with 3. Scrying, the arena we want. Smother, you know, they had Mastercore and they had Shadow Mage Infiltrators, so Smother hit half the cards I saw there. Let's cut that. Let's cut a Cabal Therapy. Let's try this. I need to play a little bit faster. I'm kind of wary since I did that misclick. I've been playing extra slow, but this is definitely a mulligan. We have no lands, no mana. Once again, a mulligan. So we're going to 5. Sure. Yikes. Guess I'll put back a Drain Life and Bane of the Living. Or Therapy when I don't really know what to name with it against them. Yeah, let's put back Therapy, I guess. This also insulates me against duress from them, so I don't really want to be getting duress in this type of a situation. I don't have any good uses for Therapy right now. I don't have a rats to trait that I want to sack to it or anything like that. So let's just go for some solid creatures, and hopefully we draw land. But even if we don't, we have a wretch that can do stuff. At least like it blocks the Shadow Mage Infiltrator. Nothing else. Yeah, there's the duress. So we did get them to mulligan also from our mulligan. It's pretty nice. Edict. Okay, sure. Could have Monolink, and we saw Impulse too, but Mana Leak, there it is. That's fine. I cannot play 3 mana to prevent this, so no thanks. And let's go. I mean, I'm glad that was basically just a grizzly bear, so I don't really care about that. Like I said, I haven't seen any graveyard value from them yet. Okay, there's the Nexus. They're gonna exile my hand, sure. Let's get the Edict out. I don't need that right now. Bane. Alright, so just gonna do like the whole land thing. Bye-bye, hand. I wonder if they have a stifle or something. I wonder what they're trying to do there. Otherwise, I just get it all back next turn. Or in 2 turns, I guess. There's the portent. Targeting themselves. See if they have any shenanigans for the Nexus here. Okay, they're impulsing. Yeah, like a Stifle would be pretty savage. No Stifle, so I get them all back? Oh no. Nice, there it is. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Alright, the Bane's gone. I have nothing. Just this rats. Everything's riding on the rats here. Got a duress, sure. Okay. They have only 1 card left too, so I mean maybe it's a Massacre or something good. But the way that they're digging, they just have so much more card selection than I do. Like they're bound to find something good before I do. Wasteland, okay. Well, we'll get in for 1 with the rat. And I think we'll waste the river. Try to keep them. I don't know. I don't know if this is good. Maybe I should hold my wasteland, but I don't really have anything that costs more than Stifle. No? Oh, Edict. Okay. I'll sacrifice my rat, sure. I will do that. Drain life. Okay. That's not very good here. Morphling. That's going to be GG. Actually, I do have a bunch of edicts in the deck, so I'll play it out for a few more turns. Wait out for a couple more turns, see if we do hit a edict, but also this demon. Oh wow, they just top decked that. Come on, come on, come on now. That's a bit much. But yeah, I mean, I could rip an edict. They have 0 cards in hand, so you know. Also, the green demon would have blanked the morphling too, although it has fly. No, it would have. They would have been able to erase me with that pretty quickly, I think. Eat it, rats. Take 5. I have one more draw step. Nope. Does that change anything about the sideboard? I probably want the therapies. I probably want the wretches too, just to get underneath. Like literally a grizzly bear might be good enough here. Therapies are going to be important, I think, for hitting the breaking up the Nexus combo. And I probably want Ritual too to get them forward, maybe ahead of it. I don't know. It's a maybe. The game might not go as long as I thought, so maybe I don't need the Drain Life. It was pretty bad in that situation, at least. I don't think Funeral Charm does anything. That I may have missed that last round where I probably should have bored that out then too. For the last game. All right, sorry, I had to step away for a second there. All right, but we're at 61 right now, so I think I do want the Cabal therapies. Now that I know what they're up to. And then I think it's either like a Drain Life or a Wretch, probably, that's getting cut. Cut the Wretch. Having one Drain Life, I think, is kind of a nice backup plan. I have a lot of life that I'm paying with this build right now. Alright, this so I can keep. Turn 1 Duress, turn 2 Rats, and then just factories and stuff. Totally fine plan, I suppose. Engineered Plague, Portent, Counterspell, Mana Leak. Pretty good hand. I should maybe take the Portents. I'm not concerned about Engineered Plague whatsoever. I could take maybe Portent or Counterspell, I think. They can cast Counterspell, so I would never take Mana Leak over Counterspell here. Portent can help them hit their lands, but they'll probably have time to hit lands anyways. Get the Counterspell. It's the most impactful card for sure. And this game's gonna go long, so you can already tell just by looking at these hands that it's gonna be a long game. I'll draw some Portent. I can Edict. Let's go Rats here. Discard Funeral Charm. Upkeep, draw. We hit a Duress. I think I'll save that until there's something I want to resolve. I remain unconcerned about the Engineered Plague. I don't think that's very good against my deck. Oh, I was supposed to attack with the factory there. Oops. Oops, oops, oops. I guess we just play the second factory and shame and pass. The only line available to us now. Unless I mean, maybe I did want to duress actually at that point, since I wasn't going to use the mana anyways. One has 3 islands now. Okay, Anurid would definitely eat a mana leak, so maybe I'll duress and play the Anurid. Yeah, Not attacking with the factory last turn is kind of bothering me now. I guess it's not a huge deal, but if the opponent wins with 2 life left, I'll know why. Or 3 actually, because the factory would have done 3. I had 2. So let's do swamp. The rest. They have a smother too, actually. Um, I guess I have to take the smother. Yeah, I take the smother and then. Ugh, I should have duressed first main. The information would have been helpful to know that I would want to attack the factories again. So once again, I'm like hemorrhaging win equity here by not attacking with these factories 2 turns in a row. But now I'm kind of want to play around Mana Leak next turn. So I don't know. I may have pointed this game already. This should be like probably 5 life, 6 life. This should be at 12 right now. If I wasn't playing poorly. All right. We have a Cabal Therapy. But there's nothing that I'm too concerned about there. I guess it lets me just nab their leak and then I can attack and play Anurid. So we can start to make up some of the damage that we lost that way. I don't really care about Plague enough, I think, to trade the rat for it. They Delta in response. If they mana leak this, that would be awesome. Oh, they do. Nice. They really like, they must really want that Engineered Plague, but it is not good. No thanks. Okay, so let's get in for 3 here. Let's play an Anurid. Morphling. All right, that'll die to a Diabolic Edict for sure. That's kind of nice. That'll definitely die. Once again, I think Edict is. I mean, obviously Morphling's not like a big meta card right now, but there's just so many ways I'm fighting where I love the Edict, and very few situations where I'm like, oh man, I wish this Edict was a smother right now. I mean, especially with Enchantress looming large, I think Edict is the way to go. GG. Okay, we're back for round 4. Actually, I'm sorry I missed round 3. It was I forget. I thought I hit record and I didn't, so I was yapping to myself the whole time. This is a reasonable keep, even though we have no threats, I guess. But we can buy time against almost any deck, at least. And but yeah, my sorry about that. Game 3, match 3 was against Sligh, and game 1. Game 1 was just kind of a bad draw for me. I just didn't really do that much. It wasn't because of the Anurid that I lost. I just literally didn't even draw an Anurid. I kept like a somewhat reasonable hand with Ravenous Rats, Mistress Factory, and some discard spells. But then I just kind of didn't draw any threats and got run over. Um, let's just lead with a duress here. I'll save the therapy for next turn. I'd rather hold my ritual too to try to, if I hit a threat, that'd be very helpful to get. Black Vise, Counterspell, Flash of Insight, Powder Keg. So this could be Stasis or just some other kind of blue control thing. Um, I don't think I'm concerned about the Black Vice. I'm not concerned about Powder Keg either. So I guess I'll take the counterspell. And then in game 2 of my last match against Red, uh, I actually the Anurids were insane. They were really good, but I made a series of kind of bumbling errors and lost the game that I definitely should have won game 2. So I was pretty tired while I was playing. It's probably why I forgot to hit record too. But I mean the thing is like the matchup didn't feel that bad, honestly. The 2 mana 3/3 does a lot. Just a 3/3 on the board is really tough for them to deal with. All right, they hold back on the Black Vice. Interesting. Well, if I charm, they're obviously going to discard Flash of Insight, so that's not very good. I think I'll take the keg. That could get annoying later on in the game. So yeah, I'm going to save the Funeral Charm until after they use Flash of Insight. I'm not sure, but I'm guessing that this is Stasis that we're up against. Black Vice, sure. Still kind of uncertain why they didn't play that last turn. Anurid, nice. Play another island. They're still holding on to that flash, so I'm gonna wait on that. Okay, another swamp. Cool. Play it. Let's attack. Assuming that the opponent has nothing here, but all right, swing for 3. Opponent impulses. Okay. Still not playing that flash. Some point down the line, we can cast a big drain life in this game. All right, taking 3, and I'll pass. Play another island. Yeah, I'm guessing this is some kind of a Stasis deck. Another swamp, alright. As I said at the beginning, I think this deck is a little bit more prone to flooding than my last build of Moneyball. So we can drain life for 5 right now. Just keeping that in mind. They're really holding on to that Flash of Insight. I'm guessing that they're planning to cast it. Try to get as much value as they can off the front side of it. Another Anurid, nice. Alright, let's get in there for 3. Getting in for 3, and then we will play the other one. That resolves, that's nice. I'm really glad I took that keg, otherwise that would have been a problem. I'm not going to use the therapy yet. If they do have stasis, I suppose it would be a reasonable way to use my creatures I don't untap anymore. But in the meantime, I want to try to beat them down as quickly as possible. It's really important just to keep the pressure on right here, I think. There goes the flash. So there is a question of like, do I do it in response or do I let it resolve first? Which one's better? I think I'll do it in response. Yeah, I don't know. Either way, they get yeah. It's kind of marginal. I think there's pros and cons to both. Either way, they're gonna get access to a little bit more information at some point. So this gives them more information in terms of what they might want to pick up, but also less information in terms of what they have to discard. Yeah, this Forsaken City. Okay, so it's definitely Stasis. The combo is that Stasis can discard cards to untap this to keep paying for the Stasis. Still no Stasis, okay. After all the digging that they've done, I highly doubt these Anurids are going to both connect here. For Drain Life, I'm at 3, 4, 5. Drain Life for 5. So if these Anurids both connect, and then they don't have a counter spell, then I can kill them this turn. I think that entire scenario playing out is quite unlikely. And there's also quite a bit of downside to tapping out in case they do have a stasis. They're likely to find one with the Flash of Insight. They can flash for at least 3 this turn. Interesting that they discarded the city. No, this is weird, but I'm actually just gonna pass here. Of course, they discard the city because I have Wasteland, but I need to keep my lands untapped. And I'm trying to put them in this bind where they have to either spend mana to deal with these, or and then they can't cast Stasis then without me being able to resolve a drain life, hopefully. Alright, begin sideboarding against Stasis. That was weird. I mean, they dug a lot, and I guess they just didn't find anything. So we want Negator and Cabal Therapy. Arena and Scrying are... I think Arena's better here. Having to pay X for the Scrying can be a problem. But Arena's kind of a double-edged sword because it kills us a lot faster if they have the Stasis out. Guess I can cut some Edicts. Probably Drain Life is better than Edict, even though Drain Life's not great either. They don't do a lot of Graveyard stuff, but I do have Flash of Insight, so some amount of Withered Wretches is justifiable. I guess I'll cut the other Edict. Anything else I want to consider here? Skeletal Scrying is at least a consideration. It's good if they don't have Stasis, and we're in a grindy setup, but that's fairly unlikely of a scenario to find myself in. I probably want the Wretch. Just making sure I have enough threats to pressure them. It's probably better than a Drain Life. I know Drain Life was looking like it was kind of helpful in that last game, even though I didn't need to use it, but in general, we can't rely on having lots of mana. Still have one Drain Life. Alright, let's try it like this. Opponent takes the play this time. Or I guess they're deciding. I probably will just ritual out the Anurid, even though it's not the most mana efficient. I think it is really important to put pressure on them as quickly as possible. This is a sketchy hand for sure, but the extra mana is actually not bad. You know, it can help you get through a stasis once they land a stasis. Opponent mulligan to 5 cards. Fortunate for them. But stasis is kind of a mulligan heavy deck. The mulligans fairly well. You only need like a couple of cards to come together to make it work. Okay, Black Vice. Duress would be sick off the top. Okay, a Wretch. Yeah, I'm still just gonna ritual out the Anurid. Just get a clock going as quickly as possible. Yes, I will lose unspent mana, sadly, but that's alright. Take 1 from that. Yeah, let's go ahead and we'll get in for 3 here, unless they have like a boomerang or something they wanted to use. Nope. Okay, so play a Wretch. pulse in response. This is one of those situations I was talking about where I have the arena, but it's probably not going to be good. They already have Vice out, so it's like doubles the effectiveness of their Vice, especially once I'm under a lock. But you know, you kind of in this matchup, you end up with a lot of cards that are pretty bad. It's hard to build a deck that's good against Stasis and then also well tuned for the rest of the metagame. So you kind of give up some points against Stasis, and you end up with some clunkers in your deck like Phyrexian Arena that is often going to be bad. Artifacts and lands enter tap. Okay. Here's the Stasis. Pretty cool art. I haven't seen that art before. The original Stasis art is obviously awesome, but yeah, Seb McKinnon is great for sure. It's cool. All right. Take 0. My lands enter tapped though. Kind of annoying. So I'm kind of locked out already. But get in for 2 while we still can here. And just pass. They are low on gas. Like, you have to just keep... They're not really going to be pulling ahead here for a while. They have 0 cards, so every card they draw, they just have to feed it to the Forsaken City to keep untapping Stasis. So we're not in, like, a horrible position. We have more lands to continue to play out. So we just kind of got to be patient here and see what we can do. I mean, they're just, once they draw a Gush, that's when it's kind of going to be over, I think. I mean, there's nothing I can do for a long time, but I can see if they run out of gas for Stasis somehow. The thing is, just eventually I'm going to stop drawing lands, and the Vice will start doing damage to me, or they're going to draw a Gush or something like that to reset. I know not all versions play the root maze, but it's, you know, it's hard to cast. It's awkward, but it really does lock it up with Stasis in a way that's uh, difficult to argue with. Second city, okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. They played their. Yeah. Yep. They played their land, so now the Stasis they cannot pay for next turn. So that's nice. We'll get to untap. Yeah. So can't pay for Stasis because they accidentally played their land instead of continuing to discard it or to exile it for city. So we get to untap. Hooray! Um, let's see. What do we want to do here? I think let's ritual out Anurid and attack with both factories. Actually, I don't even need to ritual it out. And I don't think there's much value in playing out the arena, so we'll just play this guy. All right, GG. Yeah, opponent just kind of messed up there. They probably had us if they didn't do that, because inevitably they're gonna eventually hit a gush or something. But all right, round 5 of the league. I won the die roll. I'll play first, and here we have decent hand. I do hate the Cabal therapy in the blind, but I will keep. I have to use it now. What am I worried about? Like survival of the fittest, dreadnought. Let's just try dreadnought, I guess. Nope, they're on Sligh. Actually, yeah. Kind of a burn heavy version of Sligh. Okay. Don't think I would have guessed any of those cards, so that's fine. Just want to double check there, make sure I was recording this time. Sorry about that, but okay. Now I'm like paranoid about it. I'm glad we get another chance to play Sligh though, because this is I really am interested in this matchup and seeing if this is how bad this is, or if it could maybe even be good for us in a weird way. Incinerate, Vortex. What am I worried about here? I guess Price of Progress looks kind of good with my hand. I'm just gonna play the rat, and I'm not gonna second a therapy. There's nothing that I really need to hit right now, so we can let that go, and it'll just block the Goblin Patrol, while they also have to sink 2 more mana into it, which I think is a good deal for us. If I need to, I can use it next turn. Also, it's just the 1 mana or the 1/1 body is like just super relevant against Sligh. So and every turn that it's out there and stopping them from attacking is a big victory for us. Foothills, mountain. I choose to attack. Oh, they dart the rats. Okay. Guess I'll take 2 and I don't get to therapy. But that's alright. Anurid. There's the man. But we're gonna wait on that for another turn at least. I really wish I had a second black source right now. That would be cool, but I think yeah. Do I want to duress away the incinerates, or do I want to funeral charm the Goblin Patrol? Because yeah, I think I'd rather duress here. Take the Incinerate. And then we'll kind of play defense here with the factory, I guess. If they want to spend a Fire Blast on it, I would gladly accept that trade. Play the pup. Another patrol, okay. But they can't attack, so that's nice. Let's draw, come on, give me a swamp. Dark Ritual. That's probably even better. Yeah, so I can do both actually. This is gonna be pretty sick. Wait a minute, did I do this wrong? 3? Oh yeah, I did this wrong. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I miscounted. I could play the demon face down and the Anurid. Or I could go demon plus funeral charm and play Anurid next turn. Yeah, I guess I'll do that. Yeah, it's kind of wrong because the demon costs 4 and the Anurid costs 2 and I only have 5. So I was thinking about the morph side of it. I could morph it, but I think that's too risky. Especially since I'm not guaranteed to have double black next turn. No guarantee of that whatsoever. So we'll get him down and then we can cast a Nerd next turn. Opponent has to tie up their mana with these Goblin Patrols. That's nice. It means they can't resolve a Vortex this turn. Even if they did rip a land for it. So we're kind of capitalizing on a little bit of tempo advantage here. Alright, I lose 2. Ouch, that does hurt against Sligh. Another Anurid. Alright. Let's get in there with the demon. Let's start beating down here. They will, of course, take the damage. They have no idea what's coming. Wretched Anurid. Pretty sick here on this board. It really does just totally dominate their creatures. And their board control elements, you know, they need Lightning Bolt and Incinerate. Basically the only cards that interact with it in the deck. They can Fire Blast too, but not great for them. Okay, there's Lavamancer. It's pretty good. Pretty good draw there. Opponent's like just saying F it and rolling in. Okay. We're gonna block the Jackal Pup. Kind of surprised they attacked there. I think I would have held back and waited another turn. Because I have all these things doing damage to me, and then they have the reach with the Lavamancer and the burn spells, so. Oh, they have the dart in the graveyard. I did forget about that. That explains why. Okay. So we can take 4 plus 4 is 8. Plus 2 from the demon. He would be dead. So we just get in for 6 here. Play a factory. Play the Anurid. So that blocks at least fairly well. And we're locked into taking 2 from the demon. A lot of men's going 2 more, that's 4. Fire Blast does 4, so that's 8. But as long as we have this blocker here, I think we're... Oh, they got the Vortex. Okay, so taking 2, 4, 6. Yeah, we're gonna survive with 1 life. Oh, they actually declined a Vortex. Okay, that makes sense, because I guess it would kill them too. Yeah, I think it feels like we have to swing all out here, but then... They Fire Blast, I'm guessing the Anurid. Oh, okay, I guess they felt like I had it locked up. I'm not sure that I did. Not sure that I did. Alright, game 2. That went pretty well, though. I mean, dude, I honestly, I think that the Anurid is better than it is... I think the upside is better than the downside in this matchup, which is a little counterintuitive, but, you know, as I mentioned in the deck type, the games are about racing. They're not so much about, like, gaining life or life total. It's more about racing. I mean, I know that that sounds kind of weird to say. It doesn't... Even as I'm saying it, I'm like, does this even make sense? Like, I don't know if you understand what I'm saying, but if you can dominate the board and outrace them, then your life total doesn't matter. Um, so we're just trying to like do more damage to them than they can do damage to us, basically. And then like life gain is just not that effective anyway, since they have the sulfuric vortex and its drain life's pretty slow. I mean, it's nice to have, don't get me wrong, but cut these therapies. I'll bring in, I guess, a plague, and maybe I cut like a duress. I think I like duress. I'm not sure if I like it more than plague. Like the 4th duress over the 1st plague is the question. We're gonna be on the draw. Duress is a lot worse on the draw, I think. Not only because the opponent has 1 less card to look at, higher chance of whiffing, but also because we're on the defensive and we need to be focused more on impacting the board. Now, play costs 3, so it's not exactly like a tempo positive card that for being on the draw, but we do have Dark Rituals, so... And it can catch us back up if we fall behind early, potentially. So, let's try this. Opponent choosing whether to play or draw. Yikes. This is not a good hand. Mulligan. Ugh. Alright, I guess we're going to 5. We're getting blasted here. Getting blasted by bad draws. Opponent kept 6. I'm looking again. Sure. I guess I'll keep this. I could cut Wastelands here, actually. Maybe I should cut, like, some Wastelands in this matchup. I played more lands than I need to because of the utility lands, so I should think about that, consider cutting Wastelands. Okay, they got the pup. We do have the Funeral Charm. This is where Funeral Charm shines. It's incredible at answering these Sligh decks on turn 1 with that. So with that, I mean, they have 4 cards. Like, yeah, there is some use it or lose it type of thing with duress, but I'm guessing if they have permanents, they're going to play those out first. Scroll would be kind of punishing, but again, my deck is like not that bad against scroll compared to, especially compared to other Moneyball decks. Just get that pup out of there right away. The 1 mana Funeral Charm on the draw is so good against Sligh. Lavamancer. Okay. I think I can take like 1 Lavamancer activation and just go for a duress here. See if they have like a vortex or anything like that that would be problematic. They have overload and 2 incinerates. I guess I'll take an incinerate and just play around the overload with my factory. Still play the factory out, I guess, but so they will get a Lavamancer activation before I'm able to edict it. But after that, we'll be sitting in a reasonable spot, I think. Both in top deck mode, but with me at like 18 life or 19 life. Okay, they're not going to use the activation. Okay, I'm glad I waited because Funeral Charm's actually better use of my. Or is it? Because I could Funeral Charm to actually attack their hand, so maybe, actually, I think I will Edict here. I think I will Edict. Does the opponent have a response? No, they do not. Incinerate me. Alright, I'll just. I'll get the overload out of their hand so that I can start activating the factory. There's definitely some downside of like them drawing another creature, but between the edict and then having a factory live, I should be able to take care of any creatures they have, and if they don't draw a creature, I can start pressuring them. Oh, they had a ball lightning. Oh, okay, so they still have the overload. Okay. Alright, so I have 2 ways to kill the factory now, so that's not coming through. This I'm gonna just wait till I get to 4 mana to cast, so it doesn't just auto die to a seal of fire. Okay, Rats is excellent. Rats is so good against Sligh. Just always a 2-for-1. Now let's see if they get rid of that overload finally. They did. Okay. So they have something that they like more than overload in hand. I wonder if it's another ball lightning or it could be another incinerate. And they're just going to the face with it. Okay. So they are significantly ahead on life right now. So we need to fix that. A land would be great. Another edict. I can't really afford to throw away the factory because I need to get up to... Or do I just morph the Bane and then... Yeah. Maybe I just morph the Bane and then they have to... They can only answer one of them. Hmm. Sure. We gotta get something. We can't just sit here and wait for them to draw enough burn to kill us, so we gotta kind of advance the game plan. Oh, there's a swamp. That's so sad. Alright. I guess I'll play it. Get in for 3. They built the factory. Makes sense. I don't love this spot, but at least we have a little bit of pressure on their life total. Okay, demon, cool. Demon helps. Okay, kind of an intense top deck war here. I am a little bit worried about Ball Lightning, but they didn't have it there. Funeral Charm, excellence. Solves a lot of problems. Alright, now we have the life total evened up, and I have 3 removal spells in hand. I don't think I want to make them discard right now, I'm not sure. Again, like, I can play out the demon, but I'm a little worried about not only Ball Lightning, but also Earthquake. We're playing it changes the clock from 3 turns to 2 turns, but I have a charm. Does that do anything? Yeah, actually the charm also does that. Changes the clock to a 2-turn clock. Oh no, wait. No, it'd be 1 short. 3, bring him down to 6, and then +2 is only 5. Bring him down to 1. My gut's telling me to hold the demon. I'm gonna do that. I'm thinking about what could go wrong in this matchup at this point. Also trying to imagine what they could have in hand that they're not using. Is it Fire Blast? Is it just more lands? Maybe they're flooding? Okay, Wasteland is sick. Let's just get in for 3. And yeah, I guess to play around. I mean, if they had Earthquake, they would have cast it already, but they could also draw it still. So let's say they have 2 Fire Blasts and like a Ball Lightning, like worst case absolute scenario. I would still be alive because I could chump block a Ball Lightning with the Demon. So I'm going to cast the Demon. Brings me down to 11. You know, oh, wait, what? No, I didn't mean to pass that and stuff. Why would it? Oh man, why would that button be right there next to cancel? Okay, well, that's annoying. That's really annoying. Okay, well, I'm gonna sap the Wasteland, I guess. That was really kind of a silly, just interface error there. But my plan was to actually morph the demon and then hold up Funeral Charm. Super annoying, bro. I can't believe I just like time walked myself. At this point, I think I'm going to make them discard. Overload. Okay, makes sense. I can't believe that pass to end step is like right underneath the. It's just crazy. All right, it's right underneath the like cancel button to like rewind. Yeah, let's just cast it. Take 2. I'm functionally at 11, but I don't think they can do 11 damage to me with only 2 cards. So earthquake for 3, sure. Okay. Yep, there's the fire blast on the demon. Okay. Swap. Go. Seal of fire. My turn. Draw. Another swamp. Pass. Opponent draws another mountain. I draw an engineered plague. I guess I have so much stuff for like I don't even care about creatures anymore at all. I guess I'll name elemental. Or maybe I should name goblins so that Mob Fanatic can't pop off, do one to me. I'll name Elemental. This could actually go on for a while still, so let me just double check. His ball lightning is an elemental, right? Where is it? Yeah. Yep. Okay. Grim Lava Mancer's gonna eat an edict. They would have been dead if I didn't have that silly interface error. He turns back, another swamp. Sweet. Pass. Okay, that's insane. Okay, Joe drew like 4 or 5 swamps in a row, except for the Engineered Plague. At least. Alright. Draw. Anurid. Alright, I'll take it. Pretty good. So if they have a Incinerate or a Lightning Bolt, they survive, otherwise they're dead. I guess if they have any other burn spell, they can double up on it. They don't have a Lava Dart in there, do they? No Lava Dart. Okay, I got there. Nice. Alright, so 4-1. Not bad. Not bad. Deck's actually pretty good against Sligh, I think. Alright, let's talk about changes going forward. I'm happy that we went 4-1 with the prototype of the deck. That shows me that it's promising. Did beat Sligh, which was really good, and I do think that it seems like in this type of a build, the Anurids have more upside than downside against Sligh, which is a little counterintuitive but really interesting. And the other thing, the only difference that I would suggest to the main deck for sure is I do think that at least one Chainer's Edict is pretty free to play over a Diabolic Edict, since this deck plays a lot more mana. We have 28 mana sources, so I do think that the deck is a little bit prone to flooding. Chainer's Edict helps mitigate that. It helps give us a little bit of extra card advantage too, like virtual card advantage, actual card advantage, since we are kind of lacking that, especially in the main deck. And I wonder if 15 swamps would be okay. I could see that. I could see that being okay. You could maybe go down to 23 lands, try 15 swamps if you wanted to. But the main changes that I made were to the sideboard. I cut I cut Negator, I cut the Smother, and I added 2 Engineered Plagues. And then I cut the Arena for the Scrying, because I do think just Scrying is going to be better in this deck in general. Especially if you do end up cutting swamps, it's so much easier to cast. And I want to be able to control how much life I'm losing too. Like, once we get an Arena out, there's no going back. So this deck, I don't think this is a particularly good Phyrexian Arena deck, but I think it is pretty good for scrying. Another way to make use of all our colorless mana too. And yeah, I stopped coping and I decided to play 4 Engineered Plagues. Even though I didn't run into any Owls or Goblins, I'm pretty sure that those matchups are miserable for the way I have this configured. And I want to give a shout out to the Premodern Mono Black Discord, or the Premodern Black Discord. The folks in there have been pretty helpful. They give a lot of really constructive and helpful feedback, and it's a cool place where some of the people in there told me, like, yeah, you should probably run 4 plagues, which is I was kind of thinking that already, but then once I started the league, I popped in there and gave an update, and we talked about it a little bit, and I'm like, yeah, that definitely confirms. I was coping with only 2 in the sideboard, thinking that Bane of the Living would get me there, especially when I have like Edict, and when my removal is pretty bad against them too. So yeah, I went up to the 4 plagues. I think that's a must. I think that maybe like a 5th type of effect like that, like an Infest or a Plague Spitter, could be good. And then playing a Vendetta right now over Snuff Out to continue to help with the Sligh matchup. But you could play Snuff Out. Um, it's better against Stifle Not, and but Vendetta costing only one is kind of nice. I do think you can play some Curse Scrolls in here too if you want. Let's look at my considering board here. You can see there's the Curse Scroll. There's some Powder Kegs which go up in value since we don't have Curse Scrolls. Rotting Giants, as I mentioned before. Skittering Scourge for a flying threat, although the double black is a little rough. I mentioned Massacre and Great Board Muse already. Urg Raiders is kind of cute, you know, just a 2-mana 2/3. Again, that crucial 3 points of toughness is pretty nice in this meta game. But you know, Urg Raiders might just not be good enough. You know, it has to attack every turn. It's arguably not a pre-modern power level card, but just something I was thinking about. I think Lurking Scourge is pretty interesting out of the sideboard, especially if we're going into something like goblins or elves and we're trying to remove a lot of creatures. We do have plenty of removal and ways to destroy the creatures, so this Scourge is easy to cast, and it can be a unique threat that can attack in the air for pretty fast. Kind of goes along with the deck's theme of fast beatdowns, but it does provide some reach. I don't know if it's good enough. It does die once, like after we activate the Scourge, it would die to any future Bane of Living sweeps that we would, or you know, most of them, unless they're doing it for one. But so yeah, something to consider. But yeah, that's the deck. I do feel like it's promising, off to a good start. I think that the Anurids have really been overperforming. I've been very impressed with this card so far. So we're going to continue working on some stuff like this. Let me know in the comments if you have any suggestions or any questions, or if you have any requests for a deck that I try next. I'm mostly going to be sticking with black type decks at least until September when I go to the Excalibur 10 to 25k. And then after that, I'll probably be focusing a lot more on random things. I do have a couple Cabal Coffers brews I've been working on that would be fun to try. I'm interested in trying Contamination too. I've played a couple Contamination games. But yeah, thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you could leave a like or a subscribe, I'm happy you got this far into the video. That really helps the channel quite a bit. And yeah, thanks so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.